incredible.
Tonight, recapping the lefts and rights of a previous race, a step closer to Rowdy Busch, Hamlin's stance on teammates outperforming him, and the question of returning to COTA. Here we are for the third episode of the season, and I'm still somewhat going. Just want to give a quick moment of gratitude for those who watch these things. Like I said, I'm just doing this for the hell of it, and at least having this channel serve an actual purpose instead of collecting dust. With that out of the way, let's recap COTA. It's the first road course race of the season, and as drivers headed into Turn 1, we'd be shown the most chaotic first lap thus far in this season.
Look out.
The right front is down on Connor Zilich from contact, and Denny Hamlin.
Guys, it's not even lap 89. Can't you keep it together for the first lap? Lap 4 sees Cindric turn Ty Dillon on the front stretch, nearly collecting Zane Smith after the two had a moment coming off the final turn. Busch mows the grass, Braxton spins out of Turn 1, Wallace receives a penalty for cutting the course, and SVG tracks down Reddick to take the lead on lap 9. However, not too far behind is Busch. With laps winding down in the stage, some drivers would look for tires, including the top two drivers, SVG and Busch. Others, like Bubba Wallace, would stay out for stage points, and Wallace would win the first stage of the race. Then they'd be sent mid-pack as they pitted during the stage break. As the second stage got into play, some more mid-pack shenanigans would take place. But up front, however, Busch would take the lead from SVG entering Turn 1, only for SVG to track him down and retake the lead. Pit stops began as Hamlin gets a track limits penalty, and some drivers would play the long game again by pitting before the stage break. We get another showing of "you picked a fine time to leave me a loose wheel," as Kyle Larson loses a tire. Ryan Preece, who elected to stay out to pick up some stage points along with several others, would win the second stage. The start of the third stage would see Suarez's race come to an end, as well as rookie Connor Zilich running into him after trying to follow Buescher through the accident. Damn. Not the debut he wanted after winning the Xfinity race the previous day. The race would resume with a couple of new contenders for the lead, with Bell and Byron chasing Busch. Bell, you say? Didn't something happen between him and Busch last year? Strategy would come into play for the front runners as they try to find the right lap to pit. Busch manages to have an advantage heading into the final laps of the race.
Wow. Austin Dillon and
That 11 car had a right front tire. That car's in the gravel.
Well, seems like Hamlin ran into Dillon, and Dillon gets stuck in the kitty litter to bring out the caution. With a restart with 13 to go, it was well ordered, yet aggressive. Then Briscoe spun out Gibbs in turn 6A. Bell would reel in Busch and engage in a battle for the lead. While Bell almost did a repeat at 24 and Gorebush, Byron got closer and closer to the two. Yet Bell would persist and stay close towards Busch's bumper. Shortly after Bell took the lead, a fourth horse entered the battle. This is exciting. Never did I think we'd have four leading cars so close together in the closing laps. Unfortunately, Busch would fade back as his right rear had been used up too much from all the defensive driving. Damn. He had the best race he could ask for and it fades away. Such is the cruelty of racing. Byron and Reddick would put up a valiant effort to try and pass Bell, but it wouldn't be enough. For as close as they came, it simply wasn't enough. Christopher Bell wins the Echo Park Automotive Grand Prix after a great drive to track down the win. Now that was a great battle for the win. No cheap shots, no dumps, just hard, white-knuckled racing to the end. A deserving ending to an overall good race at a road course of all places. A common joke thrown around in the NASCAR community is how this is something that is incomprehensible to the European mind. Although drivers were able to cut corners, NASCAR had stated that they'd be placing track limits for some of the turns in the S's, which may have confused Busch a bit, as he shared his thoughts on the whole ordeal. From Nick Geddes at 5 Goats, Busch would rip NASCAR saying, "They ain't got a clue." He stated that he heard NASCAR would police turns 4, 5, and 6, which then shifted to turns 3, 4, and 5. NASCAR informed the teams that turn 6 was open to cutting all the way. Despite his frustration, Busch was very much in favor of having track limits, citing that without them, drivers would cut all the way through turns 3 and 6. He stated that there needed to be a clear set of parameters on how much drivers can cut a turn before being penalized. And while Busch didn't want to see the caution come out after Hamlin and Dillon made contact, some individuals believe Hamlin intentionally did that on purpose to give Bell a shot to win. Also from Nick Geddes at 5 Goats, Hamlin stated on his podcast that was not the intention at all, citing that the track was littered and the moment he tapped the brake, everything came undone for him. He didn't want his teammate to win since both he and Bell had practically the same equipment, and it was not a good look for him to be mid-pack while Bell was battling for the win. Been a somewhat slow start to the season for him, right? But lastly in this news section is the question, will NASCAR return to COTA for 2026? This was one of the questions asked from an article by Kevin Little for the Austin American-Statesman, which featured sections on Bell's victory and Zilich's Cup debut. According to the article, SMI rents out the COTA facility for its race week, and deals have usually been one-year renewals. COTA chairman Bobby Epstein says NASCAR is listed as number 3 in the best attended events list, behind Formula 1 and MotoGP. With the new national layout, SMI Communications Chief Scott Cooper said that they had mostly seen positive feedback for the layout change. I mean, if you ask me, everything seems to be locked in place for NASCAR to return in 26. I mean, you even got Ryan Blaney over here saying that he'd like to come back to the course. It's still early in the season to put much attention here, but here's some quick things to keep in note. Byron now only has 2 points over Blaney for the lead. McDowell and Busch enter the top 10 in points. SVG powers his way into the top 20 in 18th, and Dillon drops from 20th to 28th in the standings. Berry, Custer, Gibbs, Ware, and Briscoe still have less points than Johnson after 3 weeks. Like I said, still too early to decipher this whole list as there's still plenty of time for the standings to settle out. The Cup Series heads even further west this next Sunday for the Shriners Children's 500 at Phoenix Raceway. One new driver enters the stage in Catherine Legg, as she will be making her Cup debut for Live Fast Motorsports' number 78 Chevrolet, as the host track of the championship race once again. This may serve as a bit of a test session for drivers looking to have a shot at chasing a championship this season. Win or have a good day there, and you may have a playbook to win the championship, provided that you go through the totally fair NASCAR playoffs first. And that will do it. That race was a great Texas showdown. NASCAR may have finally found a package to use for road courses. I still remember those early next-gen road course races and not having a lot of action. It's off to Phoenix, and then a little surprise I have in store for you the week after. What is it? I don't know, you guess.
What the hell?